What the fuck?
Like,
what?
imagine your soul in my body.
Yeah.
That's
It's
weird.
weird.
You said, man, what do you mean by that?
I'll put my phone in
It's
your
mostly
bottle.
happened.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Todo Chido. I'm here, of course, with Steve and Julie, and we have a special guest today, Sir Isington. Say what's up, man.
Fear me if you
Bro, it's cool because, like, I don't know if you knew this, but for those of you who are new, every 10 episodes, we'd have Izzy on the old show, and we technically missed him by one. Next episode, it would have been 10 episodes since the last time we saw him. But yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I can't be here. You know that, right? I gotta go right now.
We're breaking tradition,
We're
bro.
breaking tradition.
But that's what this show is about.
No, you don't understand.
This is episode 3, though.
Okay, so one of the topics I wanted to talk about is weed. Because I don't know if you guys saw, like, Wiz Khalifa tweeted the... Did you see it?
Can you say weed, though?
No, it doesn't matter.
Cannabis?
No, I mean, just say weed. I'll figure it out in
What if
post.
we want to start
Yeah.
intellect? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I got you.
Cannabis?
Oh, we want to...
Cannabis industry.
We don't want to look like stereotypes.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but did you see? Have you even seen Wiz Khalifa? First it was his video, and then I don't know if you saw his tweet.
I saw a video that said like he was talking about how like if you stop smoking weed and shit like that, like stop trying to tell others like, oh, like I stopped smoking
It
weed.
changed my
and-
life.
shit
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Did you see
That was the video?
Yeah,
No.
he had a video where he was talking about how he's tired of all these people who come out and they're like, oh, I quit smoking weed like a month ago and it changed my life. It changed my perspective. Like, I feel so much better. He's like, bro, like smoke for 15 years and then quit for 15 years and then tell me if it changed your life. Like, don't just quit for 1 month and tell me like, oh my God, like it's so much better. Like that's all
Yeah.
bullshit. And then recently, I don't know if it was today or like yesterday, he tweeted like, what did he say? What's with this weird 1970s mentality on weed all of a sudden? Like, everybody thinks that weed makes you lazy and does all these bad things. What do you guys think? Because do you guys seem like you guys are a little bit of a potheads.
What the fuck? Why would you say that? The allegations for real. The allegations.
As if like in the old show we didn't have a fucking podcast.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What is you talking
Oh yeah,
about?
that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist.
You see this fool?
My bad.
What are you talking about?
But do you guys ever feel like weed made you lazy?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like the way Wiz Khalifa is talking about it, like he's always focusing on like the people that say the negative shit about it. You get what I'm saying? Because he just got to defend it because that's
Yeah.
who he is. You know?
You think that fool's addicted?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
If you can get addicted, you know?
You think you can get addicted to weed?
Probably. I think so.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
I don't know. 50-50.
It's like I don't have a problem. Like you're scratching like your neck and shit. You guys never felt lazy? I feel like when I would, it would weirdly enough, if it was like flour, like I feel like I'd be fine. But whenever it'd be like dab pens, like Stizzy or like any of the other ones, I feel like that's where I would get really fucking like lazy.
Do you think he's only saying this like as a, like, because he doesn't want weed to get re-stigmatized? Like,
Do you mean like have like a bad name?
Well, I don't know. I got that vibe where he was more just kind of being like, he feels like they're trying to like demonize weed again.
Yeah.
And that he felt the need to defend it.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know.
I guess you can say that, but then it's getting like legalized every fucking way, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like, fuck
Yeah.
it.
But it's weird, dude, because like weed's gotten like, at least even in our like lifetime from when we were high school to now, like weed's gotten stronger. Like the THC.
No, you know what's crazy, bro?
What's
Like
that?
I promise you, if we took like, bro, a lot of people in high school were taking dab pens now and shit like that. Imagine we had dab pens when we were in high school and shit like that.
Yeah, bro.
It'd be game
You know, I read a study that says that like if you're basically under 25, you shouldn't be smoking weed because it has like it has to do with like memory. It has to mainly do with like
Because
memory.
your brain's not done developing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I remember what it was. Is that it shrinks like your pineal gland. Like it keeps it small, so it doesn't really develop and grow as you get older. And I was like, fuck. Well, it's like already kind of too late, you know.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right.
There's nothing I can really do about it
But
now.
I feel like I was kind of like a late bloomer to smoking, you know. So like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, me too. Like, I wasn't smoking at like 12, like some people were, you know. Like,
Yeah.
not to call anyone out. Like, I don't even know anybody.
Nah,
who's
but
smoking
even
that
then, I
young.
feel like smoking like to us how we did right now, it didn't come to us like probably for me at least until I was like 19 or 20.
Oh, smoking like heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's
So
true.
like, you know, fuck it. That's good that I waited like that long, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, one of the things that I guess is like weird to me is that like I brought up like THC levels. Have you guys ever gotten paranoid on weed?
I think I tend to like overthink a lot on weed, but I think it just depends on if I have something going on in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I've ever like seen anything or like freaked myself out that much. It's just more of like my inner thoughts of like whatever I have going on. Like I'll just think about it. But I don't think I would call it like a really like bad trip.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just, to me, I'm kind of like, oh, it's just like what I have just going on in my head.
Do you guys ever have a thought when you guys are high and you guys think like it's like true? Like you have like a deep thought about yourself, or like you think about other people, or like you think about something that's going on in your life and you're like, holy shit, like I just discovered something. Do you think that's real?
Oh, of course, hell yeah.
Yeah,
bro.
you think that's real?
I feel
was
like
talking about this. Yeah, go ahead.
no, I feel like you get with weed, the more you smoke it, the more you gain emotional intelligence.
Really?
100% I feel like that, because then you start to like observe everything around you once you're high and shit like that. You start to see people differently and shit like that. So I think it's like, you know, you gain a lot of emotional intelligence with that.
I feel like I see
Yeah.
that with the older generation. I feel like the older generation likes drinking more than smoking, and I feel like the younger generation has more like empathy. But I don't know if that's like just me. I don't know if you guys experience the same thing with the older generation, because the older generation is like kind of how Wiz Khalifa said, the older generation had that propaganda of like, nah, weed's like bad for you. Like weed's really bad for you. It's basically on the same level as like Coke. So I feel like the older generation never really experimented with weed as much, and the current generation does. And I feel like it's kind of made people, at least nowadays, like more empathetic. But I don't know if that's unique to my experience. I don't know what you guys would say.
I don't know. I feel like maybe, but I mean, I don't think I've really observed it that much to like be like, oh, like I think these are what the differences are. But like with the whole like laziness thing, at least personally in my own experience, I've seen a lot of friends who actually use weed and they're very productive. Like they're like, I'll smoke a bowl and then they'll start cleaning their room. Or like I'll smoke or like I'll smoke a bowl and like I'll go do my homework. Or like some people genuinely, at least that I met when I was in college, like some people would they're like, I smoke a bowl and then I can go to class and like and I can go function and I can remember these things and all that. But I don't know, that's why I'm like, for me personally, I don't think weed really makes you lazy. I don't know about the whole emotional part of it. Because I don't think I've really like experienced that part of it of a lot.
You don't think you became more empathetic when you started smoking weed? You don't think smoking weed at least changed your mindset on a lot of things?
I think it probably did. I think kind of in the way of like it just, I guess for me, because if I'm high I get very giggly. So I do get very like happy and I'm up for the most part. And then yeah, when like I'm pretty much like going down, I'm usually just getting tired and sleepy. So for me, it's always been an upper thing. But I think just in my own personal experience, I don't know about empathy though. Like I think I've been like super happy and like I'll be giggly and stuff. But I don't know about empathy though. I don't know about that part.
What do you think, Brandon?
I mean, in the video that Wiz Khalifa was saying, he was talking about how like if you're lazy on weed, it's because you're lazy already.
Yeah,
and I feel like
that,
I don't know about the empathy thing, because I've honestly just never heard that. I've never heard that, so I feel like because I've never heard it, I have no like.
Yeah.
I just never thought about it.
You
like
have no
that,
connection like that.
So I just never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
So if
I don't know. Well, because me, it's funny because I get what you mean by like the empathy thing. Just because like sometimes I've met people who like are older, and I always feel like, dude, like if you smoked weed, like I feel like you'd be a lot more chill. Like you'd at least, because you know how when you get really high and you start thinking inward, like I was mentioning earlier, I feel like you come to a lot of like harsh truths, not on the same level as like shrooms or anything, but at least you reflect a lot more about like what's going on in your life than I feel like when you're off it. Which is where I think some paranoia comes from, because sometimes you're like kind of going down like some heavy shit, you know, and it freaks you out. So I feel like I see that point. I feel like it does make people maybe more.
I get what you're saying. I think that like, but I also feel like I agree with what Wiz Khalifa saying. Like I feel like to a degree it amplifies what's like
already
kind
there.
of going on. What already
Yeah.
is kind of going on.
Yeah.
Like if you're kind of like an anxious person, and you're kind of, I mean, for some people they say like it shows them out. But I think if like you're anxious or like kind of angry or there's something going on, it'll probably like put that forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're kind of like a chill person or you have that in you, and that's kind of the forefront of who you are, I think it'll push that. But I don't know specifically that it's the weed that's like doing. You get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
I
that
think
was already there.
Yeah.
Bro, maybe you were already like an empathetic guy. You're already caring and shit.
Weren't we talking about this? But
Yeah,
what were we talking about when we said it? About
So I was the reason I brought up the whole truth, like realizations and shit, whatever you're high. I was telling my sister is that I actually feel like sometimes what people think about when they're high isn't true. Like I feel like sometimes people freak out, and because weed makes you paranoid, like it makes you paranoid sometimes. And at least from my experience, sometimes I smoke with people or I've been around people who got really high and they were like telling me all these like crazy like paranoid thoughts, like oh my god, I can't believe like my life is like this. Like, I can't believe I'm doing that. And at least because I know them personally, I knew some things I feel like they were being a little too harsh on themselves about. I don't know if that's like maybe just me trying to like protect them and tell them like, no, dude, like everything's cool. Like everything's like chill, you know, like everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. But that's what me and my sister were talking about, right, Julie?
Yeah, I honestly can't low key remember the conversation, but I remember I was just like
too much weed.
But I remember I think I told you that I was like, I feel like there is something that like weed kind of enhances. I remember saying something like that.
Okay.
Because I know we were talking about like alcohol and kind of like how people also say like, oh, alcohol is kind of like a truth serum sometimes. But I feel like sometimes on alcohol you're also pretty conscious on like what you're doing.
Do you think alcohol is a truth serum?
Yeah, hell
yeah.
If you drink enough, for sure, hell yeah.
What about weed?
Weed, I don't know.
Because I told him, I told him that I feel like weed is mostly about the same, and we were speaking on it of like paranoia, right? Of like the reason you're paranoid sometimes because maybe you do have these inner thoughts in your head of like, shit, something's like gonna happen to me or something's about to go down. Not saying that like it's actually gonna happen, but these are just thoughts that you have that get enhanced because you're like high.
Like you're already anxious about that.
Like
thing
yeah, you're already
degree.
anxious
No,
about
what
it.
I think?
Yeah.
I feel like alcohol makes you say the truthful things, but weed makes you understand them, so you don't have to say them. You get what I'm saying?
Interesting.
So it's like when you smoke weed, you're just like what the fuck am I worrying about? Why am I chilling? You know? You start to understand these thoughts, and you start to understand like you're worrying about nothing. And that's how I feel when I do that shit.
How's that alcohol thing work? I don't drink, so when you guys say it's like the truth serum, what, you just blab out like?
I can make you a drink right now.
That's true.
I can make you a drink right now. I can make you a drink right now.
I can learn from experience right now.
Yes, you can right now.
I actually read something about it that like alcohol is very good for anxiety. That it's a really beneficial drug for anxiety because it melts away this like fear that you kind of have when you're going to, and I feel like it's true. I mean, when people get to parties, they feel a little anxious and then they take a shot and like now everybody's friends with everybody, you know?
Yeah.
But to explain it, it's kind of like imagine anxiety is like this like sheet over you, right? Or like this cloth, this like, you know, the ghost, like the booze, like imagine it's like a cloak over you, and when you drink, I feel like it just kind of like dissolves.
What about that makes you like tell the truth? Like, what about that makes you confess your love for somebody? Or what about that makes you...
That's a good question. I feel like it's because the lack of... when you, at least for me, when I drink alcohol, I feel like I'm so in the moment. I feel like I'm so here, like so present, that I'm like if you love somebody, if you see somebody, like say you're drunk at a party and you're in love with this chick that you've been in love with forever, you're like baby, all we have is right now, you know? I gotta let her know right now how I feel. There is no tomorrow, you know?
I get what you mean.
I think that's the best way. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Because I keep thinking of like in college, I remember when like people would drink and get like pretty drunk, and then they would start texting like a guy or something like, oh, like let's meet, something like that. And then people would always blame it on the alcohol, right? Oh, like I'm just drunk or whatever. But I remember I'm starting to see a lot of tweets of like, I know what I'm doing, like I know what I'm saying, like I'm pretty conscious enough that I know that I'm texting this dude like late at night because I know what I want, like kind of thing. So I think it's just more of like just courage. I think there's a lot more courage.
Liquid
to
courage,
it.
right?
Yeah, liquid courage.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is. It's kind of like truth serum because I guess you're blurting out in a way of like how you're feeling in the moment. Whether it's love, whether it's like you just want to hook up or whatever it is, like it's like your inner self is like kind of coming out, you know?
Okay, but if alcohol is a truth serum, then when you're drunk and you cheat on somebody, are you cheating because that's how you actually wanted to be when you were sober? or is it like you can't blame yourself because you were drunk?
I
Right?
do feel like when you're drinking, you feel more emotions than what you are normally used to feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like everything, everything that's like intense, I guess.
Intensify?
Like heat. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You feel it more for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
you know you feel like no restrictions are on you when you're drunk.
Yeah.
You know the
Mhm.
chains are off basically.
Yeah.
I think that's I don't know.
But then why do you people who cheat and then
I
they
never
say
cheated. I never cheated.
yeah, when people are drunk and they cheat and then they blame it like they say like
They're
no
like,
it's because I
"Oh,
was drunk, I would
yeah."
never do it if I was sober. Is that valid?
Wait, say it again. Say that again.
Is that valid if somebody got drunk and cheated on their partner and they were like, oh, like it wasn't me, I was drunk, I was a different person? Are they valid or is it invalid? Because it's also a slippery slope. Because this is how we bring up then consent, right?
Yeah.
When two people get drunk and have sex, or one person's drunk, right? Usually, if it's one person sober and one person drunk, obviously that's wrong.
Yeah.
But when it's two people who are drunk, is it like and they both like cheat on a partner, right? Let's say they both have like partners.
Yeah.
Are they like responsible for cheating? Or is it because they were drunk that they like should be forgiven, right? Let's say let's say you guys are in the situation.
Okay, well, in
yeah.
context though, like,
Okay.
do those partners know each other beforehand? You know, or did they just meet up one night and just hooked up randomly?
Let's say in here it was random.
It was random.
Yeah. Let's say it was your girl and she was like, I swear, like women are shit.
I don't know. I feel like it's weird because how I said like when I told you guys one time, I was like when you're drunk, technically, I don't know where this rule comes from. I think just like I just heard it word of mouth, but or it's there where it's like when you're drunk, technically, if you say yeah, you're not you're not really, I think, giving consent, because you're drunk. You're not 100% of like being able to say yes, right? One time my friend made a comment of like, if you're both drunk, then you both basically like violated each other, of like, because you guys both weren't sober enough or at 100% to give consent. That's what she said one time to me, and I was kind of like,
that brings up the thing then, like what if they both had partners so they didn't cheat? So
That's what I think. That depends on the person. That depends on the person. You know, what if like, what if my girlfriend says like, oh, please take me back, he violated me.
Oh,
and then like the other guy's like,
yeah.
what? Like, you know, like we just had random drunk sex.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? Now it's a whole different talking point now. You know what I'm saying?
No, yeah,
so I think it depends on like how the person views it, or like, you know, what their whole end game is to it, you know?
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I guess it's case by case basis, right? I just wonder
Because it happened to me though. You out the door for sure.
Okay, so every time you get drunk, like whenever you drink, do you feel like you're always in control?
Fuck no. There's another side of me when I'm drunk. I don't know how to explain it.
I see a different you.
Literally, like I'm serious.
I was like, that's not Izzy. That's Israel.
The cloak vanishes, bro. Like you said.
That's interesting just to talk about. See like the different effects of each drug, right? Like, cause then weed. Like, have you heard this term called greened out? Have you heard of that?
But I feel like I know what you're about to say.
Greened out is just people. It's basically the equivalent of, I guess, being like what, like blackout on weed. Have you heard it? Have you heard the term green out?
I thought greened out means they're freaking out. Like
yeah, exactly. Like you basically just overboard. Do you feel like like it's basically you're so high, and it's basically you get so high you get scared.
Yeah.
Nah, what's it called? There's this I don't know what you're saying, but there's this one video or like quote I saw from what's that dude's name? Tommy Lee, you know what I'm talking about?
Tommy Lee. Oh,
the dude that 70s show, the Leo.
Oh
the
no,
dude with the
I don't know.
Cheech and Chong.
You
know what I'm saying?
Cheech or Chong?
Cheech.
Which one?
I think
Cheech or Chong.
I think it's Cheech.
Yeah.
But what's it called? He said like when you smoke, you don't smoke just to get high. You smoke to get the highest you've ever been.
Every time.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just so it won't be a repeated occurring thing, just to get like at the same level, you do it so you can get another level above. So like I don't know.
Do you feel like that's right though? Do you feel like every time
if you're focused on that, you get what I'm saying?
Well, because it reminds me of a conversation you and me had a long time ago. Do you remember we were talking about do people use weed the right way? Because at least for me personally, for like a long time, if we were smoking, I was smoking to get stupid, like literally, like he said, like to get the highest I can possibly get, you know. And then Brandon brought up a good point. It was like, but is that right? Like, should we just be getting like just a little buzz and then like enjoy that high, maybe meditate or like do yoga? You get what I'm saying? Like it makes me think. Like, do you think people use weed the right way?
The same thing for alcohol though too, you know.
No,
You say the same
I
thing
guess
for that.
like I don't really care. Like I don't care if people like want to do that. Like I don't think that's wrong at all. But it's more like because I feel like a lot of people use weed like it's a drug, like it's a narcotic, like it's like alcohol or something.
Yeah.
Which again, that's fine. I don't care. But like I feel like people talk about it more like it's medicinal. Like it's more like, oh no, it helps me like chill out, like I meditate, and like I feel like that's cool too. But I feel like those two things don't track. Like I feel like if you're getting the highest you've ever been, you're not just like I'm gonna do something.
Yeah.
You're pretty fucked up, you know. So I'm like, what's the better way? Like what's
Okay.
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like how can I get the best use out of this? Basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How do you go about it? Do you every time you smoke? Do you smoke to get faded as fuck?
Well, like when I'm motivated, like I haven't been motivated recently, but when I'm motivated, like let's say I'm like on my shit, I smoke, and then I'd be like, all right, let's do some fucking yoga. So I'd be like, fuck it, I gotta stretch my fucking hips and shit like that. I'm an old man, and then and after that, I'd be like, you know, like at this time, like if I'm feeling really motivated, I'd be like, you know what, let's go for a walk, take my dog out and shit like that. And I just walk him like around the block, and I'd just be chilling, you know, like when I'm fucking smoking and shit like that. Because then like when I smoke, I realize like, oh, you got shit to do, so just do it.
Yeah.
And just really worry about that shit later. Because then like 2 hours later or like 3 hours later, however long it takes to get you high, at the end of the day, you're going to be feeling slumped, right? So I'm like, fuck, I'll feel slumped. But during that time when I can work, I'll work. That's how I feel.
It's like we said, like weed doesn't make you lazy, bro. If you're a motivated person, you can be motivated while you're high.
Real.
You know?
There you go.
Pretty real.
There you go.
Back to that paranoia part. Damn.
I was literally gonna circle back to that.
Nah.
You've ever gotten paranoid?
Hell yeah. Nah, there was a phase where I was smoking weed. Like, it's because, like, bro, there was a time where I would never sleep at all. Like, I'd stay up like 5, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m., you know? And, like, all throughout the night, I'd just be like, damn, what if someone breaks in right now, you know? That's all I think about when I'm high. And, like, there'd be times where, like, I just be walking around, get some water, and, like, all the lights are off, right? And, like, I'm faded as fuck. And I just, like, stop where I'm at, and I just look around to see if anyone's, like, tries to do some shit right there. That's how paranoid I was, bro. Like, I really thought someone was going to do some shit right now.
Has anything ever actually happened while you were high though?
Nah.
Bro, for me, it just happened once when I remember I told you guys when I was at the LA River, and then I got pulled up on while I was like stupid high. That was the worst, bro, because it was already like I was already kind of like paranoid, and then for it to actually happen, it's like it almost felt like I was in a dream. It almost felt like there's no way this is happening, right? Like it's like almost like paralyzing, like when you're paranoid and then your paranoid thoughts become real. Like it's totally trippy, bro. But how do you guys get out of paranoia whenever? Have you gotten paranoid? Julie?
I don't think I have.
You never gotten paranoid?
No, because I don't know. I don't think I have. And I feel like it's mostly just because I've always been super cautious on the intake. So how much I ever take, because I'm like, I know like my limits, and I'm kind of like, okay, like recently I do get like a lot more anxiety on it, but that's more of like just me overthinking and having just like my inner thoughts sometimes overtake me. But that's a lot more recently that's been happening. But I don't really like. I think one time was during the pandemic when I was like, fuck, I don't think we're ever gonna get out of the pandemic. But then I was kind of like,
If I heard you say that back then, I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
I know.
Yeah, I remember. About? But that was I think like the first time I had like smoked like I think a stizzy pen, and I had finally bought one because I would mostly just take edibles. I remember the whole entire time during the pandemic, and then I finally bought a pen, and then I was and then when I smoked it, and then I remember just being like, "Fuck, I don't think we're ever gonna get out of the pandemic. Like we're just gonna be stuck like this like forever." But then but it wasn't like to an extreme. It was just like again like just my inner thoughts, and then it kind of was just like like whatever, like I'm chilling, but it wasn't like something like that I was like I couldn't sleep anymore or something. It was just like a second, and then I was kind of like, okay, whatever.
Nah, dude, getting high during like peak quarantine when we'd be locked up, it would be like the most depressing shit ever, dude. I fucking would always be like, damn, like I'm never gonna get out of here. Like I'm gonna waste my life away. Like all those conspiracies about the New World Order and people trying to like manipulate us is true. Like, dude, I would totally tweak out during quarantine when I would get faded. I would pretty tweak
Hell
out.
nah, bro.
Bro, one time, you know what happened? One time I started doing push-ups for like no reason because I was like, like Like I need to. I was looking at like motivational videos, and I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna waste my life away in here. At least I'm gonna do something.
Kobe will be putting up shots right now, bro. Kobe will be putting up shots.
I felt like a prisoner. You know how you're in prison and people start doing prison workouts?
Push-ups and pull-ups?
Yeah. I remember it was because I would just get high. Like I had, you know how we still had online school? Like every time online school would end, it would just like go dark in my room, and I'm just like, damn, I'm not doing anything with my life. Like I gotta do some push-ups or something.
Yeah.
So I tried doing like 100 push-ups like every day.
Yeah, that's good.
I did it for like a month, but then after a while, I got lazy. Dude, I look back at some of my pictures. I feel like I got pretty chubby.
Let me see. Take out your shit right now.
Nah, I'm chilling.
Not for free.
No
not
show,
for
guys.
free.
No
not
show.
for free.
Not
Not
for
for
free.
free.
Come on, bro. Todo Chidos.
We'll start
for
the Todo
free,
Chidos
though.
OnlyFans. We'll have all 4 of us.
Soon.
So that's the new premiere.
I say,
It'll be
Yeah.
on the Patreon.
I know, right?
I said though, back to the paranoia shit. Like
Yeah.
the way I got out of that though is like I just realized like how much of a stupid motherfucker I was being. You know, I'm serious.
I just realized I was being dumb as fuck.
Yeah, at first I was like, bro, like you really worried about someone like breaking in and shit like that? You'd hear that first. Second, you got a fucking dog, so like you definitely.
And
know
you
what
also
the
have
fuck.
Buddy too. You also have Buddy.
Exactly. So like honestly, like that's what I was thinking about most of the time. I was like thinking about getting paranoid. So I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like you're just a fucking dumbass living your whole like just living in the house. Like what the fuck? What's so special about you? So then I was like, all right, you can stop tripping out. So then that's when I stopped being paranoid. You know, I just like deconstructed it all. That's how I did it.
Have you guys ever tried to talk your friend out of being paranoid?
I told him the same thing I just said right now.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Literally, that's what I just tell him. Like, you
'Cause
know, like,
dude, I feel like I suck at it. I feel like I tried it with you. Do you remember, Brandon? Like I just when the shroom trip when you had your shroom trip. Remember I tried
I
to
feel
talk
like
you
that's completely different though.
Yeah.
Completely different,
Shrooms
though.
is different than
That's
weed.
completely different though.
It's like a whole different beast.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys are finally in the same room. You guys both share traumatizing like shroom experiences.
Not right now, bro. Not right now.
Not right now. I know
So you don't like the beach anymore, Brandon?
No, I still like the beach. I'm not like traumatized.
I just think about it every day, and first thing I think about when I wake up,
Izzy,
and last thing I think
are
about
you
when I go to sleep.
traumatized of the forest? Or nature?
nah, I'm not traumatized of it. I just like, damn, like, I just think for what it was. I just think I was thinking about like a sequoia for what it was too much. You know.
What do you mean?
I was like, damn, like, we're literally like in an enclosed fucking 2,000-year-old fucking place and shit like that, you
No
know?
signal.
So literally, like, so I'm like, you know, like, it's literally you against
Nature.
against the woods, bro. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck, you know? I'm like, fuck it. They got my ass though.
You said you were like seeing apes and shit, right?
Yeah, I was seeing like apes, monkeys, and shit like that on the trees. I saw a bunch of skulls and like the clouds and shit
Yeah,
like that.
that's what I
was
saw.
like, fuck. And then I'm like, damn, bro.
You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
Nah,
My question was just if like forest and nature traumatized you, because you did it at the beach. Well, you had like your thing at the beach.
It's not. I don't have a problem with the beach. I'm not a people person. So for me, it was more like I don't like
yeah.
like there was a lot of people there. And
No,
for
there
me,
was.
I was like
There was,
I didn't
yeah.
like that. I didn't like that. Like I don't like that. Like normal, like sober.
Yeah.
So for me, that was like I don't
Valid,
like this. So
valid.
Yeah.
I don't really.
That's why
connect that.
for me,
Yeah.
I remember that I was getting there because there were so many people there. Because I mean, the past few times that we had done it, like when we had it was always in nature and there wasn't that many people around. Like they would pass by if they were like hikers or something, and then the other one was in the forest, so hardly anyone would also. Again, it was just like hikers. And then this time it was the beach, and then it was packed that day. And I remember just being like, fuck, there's a lot of people. And that's why I remember when I was sitting there in the sand, I was like, I was still very conscious of like, I wonder what people are thinking of me just sitting here. And I was just vibing to the music the whole entire time. But I was just like, damn, like.
You started thinking about other people.
Yeah, I was just like, I wonder what they're thinking. Like, because you guys were like running, like walking around. And then I was just sitting there the whole entire time. But yeah, I remember the amount of people that were there is what was getting to me a lot too. Because
That's
was
so
like,
interesting.
fuck.
Because I guess it shows our personality differences. Because I'm a people person, so to me, I was very much vibing. Like I was like, yeah, it's just people, you know. They're just chilling. They're just they're living like I'm living, you know. Like they probably don't think anything about me the way I'm not thinking about them.
It wasn't that I thought they were thinking about me. It was just the like. The aesthetic, I guess. It was more like I feel like
It was like it was zoning in on you or what?
no, not it wasn't with me and people. It's never at all that I feel like they're like looking at me or like they're thinking about me.
What is it then?
I could be fucked. It's just more like if something goes down, I'm trapped. Like if something goes down, I'm trapped, and or like if or like I feel like you guys aren't giving me my space. Like get the fuck off me. Like it feels like people are like on me, you know.
Like you're always on go, basically.
Yeah, like I
always
always
on
feel
go.
like you know, like is somebody gonna like I don't know. It just for me
Yeah.
it feels like something's gonna happen, and I feel like I don't like the idea that like
Was it
I-
always that way, or
I've
did
just
you?
always been like that,
yeah.
yeah.
Even as a kid, you felt that way.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Did you feel that with other kids or mainly adults, or both?
Mostly adults, or I don't know. I feel like maybe I just like I said, it's more like this one time on TikTok, I was seeing like this like airport that was super packed, probably during the holidays, and I was thinking, man, I'd probably like freak out because there's just so many people, and it's like, I guess it's like a claustrophobic thing where I'm like, I feel like I can't get out of here, you know?
Have you ever freaked out?
No.
No, nothing
No,
like
I
that.
always stay cool.
Yeah, everything will be cool. So yeah, that's cool. That's good.
But you know what tripped me out? Like after the shroom trip and shit like that, they told me like all I was saying was I don't know, man, and shit like that. And then like they told me like you kept saying that too.
Mhm.
I was
You
like,
guys both,
holy
yeah, you guys were both
fuck.
saying the same thing.
I feel
I would, because I would ask this,
I don't remember that.
I would ask this fool like, hey bro, like, how you doing, or like, I would ask him just like regular things to check up on him, and he's like, I don't know, bro, I can't talk about this yet. Like, I don't know, there's a lot going on. And then I remember with you, same thing. I would tell you like, Brandon, like, are you good? Like, don't worry, like, talk to me. And you'd be like, yeah. And then you'd like look off into the distance and completely like think about something else. And then that's when you would say like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know. I just don't know what's going on right now.
It's because for me, like I've always gone into it seeing as it like medicinal. I try to at least as like medicinal, as
I
it's
think that's a good way.
as it's like therapeutic. And so I get those results, you know, where it's like, so like for me, it's like super like introspective, and I feel like to a degree I'm not really there. So like when you, at least in that case, when you were talking to me, I didn't really feel like I was there. Like I was, not that I was like somewhere else. It was just more like I was just too lost in thought. Like I was
Same.
aware. Like
Yeah.
I wasn't
Yeah.
like, oh, duh, you know. Like I just was like, nah, I'm thinking too heavily.
Did
about
it
this
feel
right
like
now,
there's
you know?
just like a lot of thoughts being shoved into your mind, or how exactly? Like, do you feel like
More
they were
like-
sprouting,
more
or
no, just more like it was so clear and so intense that I couldn't focus on anything other than that. It's kind of like if we were in this room and there was like a lion right there, and you were talking to me, I'd be like, yeah, bro, like I'm kind of like looking at
you
the
saw that
lion.
game yesterday?
Yeah, like, you know,
and you were like, there's a
Yeah,
fucking
I felt, like I kind of felt the same way, but for me, like my thoughts were just like fucking like a car like boom just driving by, like, and then like there was like so it's like traffic, ongoing traffic, like,
Really?
but they were every car was going like 90 miles an hour, you know.
Yeah.
So it was like boom, 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 every thought.
Uh-huh.
So that's why like when we were over there doing that, when I was at the shroom trip,
Mhm.
I tried to like distract myself by the time you guys, "Hey, let's play a game, you know,
Yeah.
and let's go for a walk and shit like that, cause like you know the cars were just
Yeah.
going inside and shit like
Yeah.
that.
I remember everything you would tell us. We'd be like, yeah, like, let's do it, bro.
But then I was like, bro, why are y'all saying yes to everything?
I know you kept like double thinking it, because then we'd say yeah, and then you'd be like, you guys don't have to be worried about me, you know. We're just saying, like,
I'm
we're
serious.
just going with you. We're just going along with whatever you want.
Or I think we never even played the game, no?
No,
I
Did
don't know.
we?
I like
you
Well,
kept
because
asking though.
because you kept saying, and then we were like, yeah, like we're down, and
Yeah.
then I think you would get distracted. Or
literally, because
something.
I was like, bro, I was like, fuck, I can't play this game right now. I can't play this game.
You were like, who the fuck suggested this?
Literally.
And it was you.
Nah, and then I was like, once I got the game, I was like, fuck, I'm out of here, bro. I gotta go on this walk.
I feel like I remember.
Remember
that.
that
He's
shit?
like,
No.
I'm gonna go for a walk.
Bro, he literally like he set everything up. Like, we were in the forest, in the middle of the forest. We didn't have like a table or anything, or what we did, but we didn't want to sit over there. So he brought like the cooler. He set it up. He brought like all the things. He put it, and then finally we were ready to play it. And he's like, I think I'm gonna go for a walk. And I remember you just got up and you just left, like,
I was
before we even
gone,
started.
bro. I was
Dude.
gone.
You said you
And
don't. Go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
I remember being like, oh, in my head I was like, oh, he's going to the restroom, and then after like a few minutes went by, like a good few minutes went by, and I was like, where'd he go? I didn't even hear you when you said that you were gonna
Nah,
go
I
for a
was
walk.
gone,
I thought you were
bro.
going to the restroom, and I was like, this who's stuck in the restroom.
Help me.
Oh yeah, brother. I was gonna ask you. You said you've never seen like visually when you've taken these trips. You've never seen anything visually.
I mean, I see things visually, but not in the way you guys describe it. Whenever you guys talk about the visuals, it never really like I never can be like, oh yeah.
I think I remember you told me. So like for me at least, or I don't know if you can relate to this, Izzy, but like for me when I see something visual, like it's actually there. Like at least, well, obviously not materially there, but I see it through my eyes. For you, you said it's not like that, right?
No, I don't really. I don't. I mean, as of yet, I haven't.
But like, then what is it? What does it look like?
So like how you say you saw monkeys, right? Or shit that wasn't there. I don't ever see anything that's not there.
Well, it was like it was just like imprinted on the tree. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I get what you mean.
And you don't see that shit?
No, I don't really see anything. At most, something that's like there will just kind of look funny. But to me, I never really like say that I'm seeing things because it's just more like in my head. I know like, oh, it's just like getting distorted. Like, you know, so to me, it's never really, I just get more like intense thoughts, you know?
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
It's like you're in X-Men. You have a different like chromosome that gives you a different power.
Well, like I said, I don't ever go into it being like, I want to do drugs. It's more, it's more.
I don't, hey bro, none of us do too.
No,
what do you think about it?
No, but like, you get what I mean.
I get what you
more
mean.
like, I try to go in there to figure some shit out. So like, I guess maybe that's why. But you know, I don't know.
Would it trip you out if you did see something visually though? Like you saw like an ape in front of you?
I think so.
Yeah.
I feel like I think sometimes that's probably why I might not see stuff. Because I feel like if I did see something, it would be too much for me.
You know what's crazy? I felt the same way as you, but then I realized like the shit that is showing me or the shit that I'm seeing is like, it's like the actual part of the world that's showing. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you mean.
It's like a different vibration of what I'm seeing now. Cause like the way I know I realize I'm on shrooms is I went to the bathroom at the forest. Remember that?
Yeah.
I went to the bathroom at the forest, and like I look at the sign where it says like, "Oh, please throw your trash away." I literally just look at that, and I see it just like shaking, moving. And I'm like,
was it like 3D?
Yeah, and I just started smiling. I was like, it's time, you know. this is it. This is it. Yeah. That's how I know.
Do you think like so your mind is literally protecting you? Do you think like
I mean it could be. I don't know. I don't know that's specific.
I don't know, man. The mind's like
no, that's why powerful. It could be, but I don't feel like that's it, you know? It I don't know.
Did you guys have trippy dreams after? I know you did because this is a funny story, but when Izzy did them, we were camping. And then that, like, it seemed like it had worn off. You took it really early. You took it like 12. It was like 12, right? Yeah. Like 12 p.m. This is already like 10 because like 10 was already lights out, right? We were already in the 10. So like 10 hours later, and we all went to sleep. And then in the middle of the night, dude, this guy was like saying, it was literally saying like, help me, like in his sleep.
Like, bro, I don't know. It's because I feel like you know how like people say they see some like figures and shit like that. Like every time I close my eyes, I don't know if it was because I was watching Breaking Bad recently at the time, but bro, every time I close my eyes, I see like a little hat man, you know, like a dude with the hat, dark figure, shadow figure, and then like at that time, like I remember you saying like, oh bro, like oh shadow man, like you know, like he wanted to come out and play with you. I was like, let's come out and play, bro, like you know. So like literally in my head, my whole head, I was like, take him out, like grab him by the shirt and take his ass out. So like once I did that,
like he pull, like literally like pull up, right? Like
yeah, literally. And then like once I did that shit, like I literally like looking next to me the whole time, thinking he was there or saying he was there and shit like that. But every time I close my eyes, like he'd just be there up here, you know, shadow and everything. But it was like all black, but then like he was the blacker figure. You get what I'm saying?
What's weird is that like it's a common thing. I don't know if you guys have seen it.
Yeah, people
a lot of people say they see the Hat Man when they take psychedelics.
Nah, he got my ass for real. He knocked me out in one punch.
He got mad, dude. You were disrespecting him.
Nah, for real.
He
like,
humbled you?
Nah, hell yeah. Cause then I remember one of my thoughts that I was thinking about was like the shrooms telling me, or like I don't know if it was the shrooms or the nature telling me like for you really thought you could handle us when you're in a divided state right now. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, you mean like internally? Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Because I, like, at the time, I was like, it's party time when I was over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we're drinking and shit like that. And literally the next day, I'm like, shrooms, let's get it. And that's like, no, my boy, that you're not ready for that. I'm like, fuck.
It made me think about, like, when people talk about they take DMT, which is, like, the strongest. I think the DMT, like, the essence, right, of the frog is the strongest. Makes me think about shit like that. Like, you're built different, bro. If you really take those, like... because like they say that's like 1,000,000 times more intense than anything.
Interesting.
That you get launched to like a different realm. Are you gonna take it?
Maybe when I'm older.
Yeah.
Not right now.
Yeah.
I feel the same as well. Like, you know, maybe when I'm like 40 or 35, if I make it there.
I feel like my first experience on shrooms was actually like a pretty good age to take them. It was what, in 2020? So that was what, like
2020?
right? 2020?
I think it was 2021. Really, though.
Or was it
Oh no, you know what? It might have been 2020 November, right?
Yeah, it was November. Well, because you guys
we don't bring that year up.
Because you were
PTSD.
mentioning of like they told you that you weren't ready for this.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember when I went into them and I was the one who was like, I'm ready for this. And I remember because it was also interesting because on Twitter I had seen something that said like if you can't really have a bad trip on shrooms because shrooms just kind of shows you what you're kind of already thinking or like putting in the back of your mind. So I already had that in mind. Like I never really did my research on it. I was kind of like, well, he did them. I'm gonna trust him. I'm gonna just do them. And so I did.
She was like, he did them. Like, oh, he lived.
Yeah, and so I remember when I did them, and I was like, oh, like yeah, like I'm ready for this. Like I've done other shit where I'm kind of like,
yeah,
I'm sure that like I'll be chilling. And then I remember when I started tripping, and then that's when I was like having just really like, I was getting very nauseous and like I was feeling really really bad. But I remember being like, fuck, like I can just like vomit, or he brought like weed and he's like, you can just smoke these and you'll be like chilling. And I remember seeing a trash can the whole entire time, and I was like, I can just throw up and just end this all like right now. And then I just kept thinking that I was like, bro, I could just do it right now because I was feeling really really nauseous. Damn. And I started seeing things like things were moving because you know how we were at a bench and then we moved to the table bench. So when we were at the bench, I started seeing things because like you were already like up. And I was getting there. And then when we moved, that's when I started still feeling nauseous and like I could see the ground moving. And then I remember I kept staring at the trash can and I was like, I can just end it right now and just throw up and like I'll be fine. But then I remember in my head I was like, no, like you've done other shit where you can like fucking take this. So just take it. Dang. And I just remember just being like, I got this. Like I'll be chilling. Like it's just right now. Like I'm chilling. Like I've done other shit. I'm a bad bitch. I can do this. And I was just like,
you gave yourself the bad bitch speech.
Yeah, and I was just like, I can do this. Like, I'll be like, no, yeah. So then I was just like, I can take this. Like I'm taking this. Like it's fine. And then I just remember after that, like I just started having like the fucking giggles, and like that was it. I was there, and then I kind of just like fell back, and I was just chilling for the rest of it. But for me, like after, I didn't have a dream. I don't really remember my dreams that much. But I just remember that I showered once we like came back. And you know, I think it's, what are they called? Like kaleidoscopes where you see like all the like things. When I would close my eyes and like I would like wash my face, that's what I would see.
Yeah. That's cool.
No, yeah, recently I've taken like a big like tolerance break off like weed. And dude, I've been having the craziest dreams. I don't know if I told you, but I had a dream where I realized in the middle of the dream that I was dreaming, so I woke up. But I woke up still in a dream, then I was, but I didn't realize it, right? Because I'm like, well, I woke up from that weird ass dream, and I was telling everybody literally like this normal dream, like I was telling you guys, like I don't know, guys, like life just seems so weird, like life doesn't seem like real, and you guys were getting mad at me. It was like, what do you mean, bro? Like this is real life, like in this up, yeah, and then that's when I started realizing, like, holy shit, like I'm still in a dream, and then that's when I woke up and I was like, holy fuck. But then it happened again, dude. It happened again like a week ago. The same exact thing. But this one was scary. I was having like a nightmare about like the world ending. And I saw like people dying and like people being caught on fire. Like, yeah, dude, like super graphic, like gory kind of. And then I woke up from it because I was so scared. But I was still in a dream. I was in my room and I was trying to fall back asleep. But I was weirdly caught between two different dreams where the world was still ending. And then my kitty, my cat that I have, she like came and she started purring like on my chest. And it like weirdly calmed me down, like Puss in Boots. I don't know if you guys have seen Puss in Boots. Like that. Like
fear me if you dare.
Like it chilled me out. And then my alarm went off and it woke me up. And then I was like, oh, damn, like that was a dream too. So I've been having like dream inception recently. Damn. So do you guys ever feel like dreams mean anything? Because what would this mean? Right?
No, you know what's crazy? Lately, like, I don't know if it's because I saw this TikTok video, but like, I've been sleeping like I've noticed this recently a lot, but like cause you know how I sleep like really late, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Like
You're
I
a night
sleep,
owl, right?
like I sleep until like the energy in me is depleted, you know. So I feel like when I sleep, I feel like the dreams or like whatever like I'm seeing becomes more vivid, because like I'm more like how should I say, more
Like there's only energy to sleep.
yeah, and
Yeah.
like no, there's not energy to sleep, but I'm more like a fuck. Fuck, how do I say it? I'm more fucking. I don't know. Fuck. Like,
You're
like
prone to
they can see they can see that like I don't have the energy. You get what I'm saying?
to what
like-
to fight back to like
like
to
to
be
like
yeah.
to not think about anything else. You know.
Uh-huh.
So whatever I'm thinking about just comes to me, and like it comes to like premonitions basically, and like
You're
like,
saying you're seeing like the future?
not the future, but like bro, I just feel like I see crazy as dreams and like visions when I'm like very depleted from like my lack of sleep and shit like that. It's probably because of my lack of sleep that I'm seeing like that or like dreaming that. But like it's crazy because like you know like
Like what
I
have
feel
you
like I
seen?
feel like I'm not asleep, but then I am asleep. You get what I'm saying?
Oh
Like
yeah.
I'm totally wide awake, but then like I could see things like just moving and shit like that.
He's hallucinating.
Maybe
It
probably.
might be, yeah. Have you gotten sleep paralysis?
Well, I
yet?
mean that happens. That happens on lack of sleep. You start
Yeah,
hallucinating.
not for sure. I'm like damn, but then it's like it kind of makes me smile because like damn, you know, like what does this mean, bro? Like you know, like, what does this mean? Like,
Am I
you
the
know?
main character right now?
I'm like, fuck that. I'm like, you a dumb motherfucker. Shit, that shit. That's what I tell myself every time. But you know, it's weird. It's weird. I think it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I feel like I gotta go to sleep earlier. You know,
Brandon,
I'm not trying to see that
do
shit.
you remember your dreams?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you remember all of them? Do you have weird dreams or you have normal dreams?
I always have weird dreams. But I don't know. I don't think about them too heavily.
You don't think it's important to?
I mean, I think they're important. But I think it's not as like mystical as people think it is.
Really?
Like I feel like a dream can mean something, but I don't think it's like let's say like I feel like you can have a dream, right, where you're like let's say you're thinking about something really heavily, and I feel like it can look like that in the dream because it's just on your mind, you know. But I don't know that necessarily. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like some people have dreams. They'll be like, oh, like this means something. Where it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm sure it means something, but not like
Mhm.
super crazy. You know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
But I think that's where like the belief part comes in. You know, like
No, yeah, I don't think that's wrong, but that's just my interpretation.
yeah, I got
But
you.
do you think dreams can be like extremely strong? Like, have you guys ever gotten hurt in a dream and hurt in real life?
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
sure.
right.
Hell yeah.
That shit's trippy. For me, it was like I got stabbed, and I remember I woke up and like my chest was hurting.
So it's
That's
really
yeah.
mind over matter.
I think it's I don't know. The way I kind of see it, I think it was just like since you're feeling the pain, something is just being created in the dream for you to like feel the pain. But it's like for me, I remember it was like my side. And I remember someone was like poking me because they were. I don't remember the dream exactly, but I remember someone was like poking me because they were mad at me, and they were just like poking me. And then when I woke up, my side was hurting. And to me, my assumption was just like I think my side was already hurting. That in my dream it started hurting.
Well,
Oh,
like,
damn.
have you guys seen that experiment? That experiment where they have like a hand and then they put a fake hand,
Oh,
and then they there's like a wall between like the hand and the fake hand, and they condition your brain to think that the fake hand is actually your hand. So when they smash the fake hands, you feel the pain, even though you didn't actually get hurt. So I think it's something to that degree, right?
Yeah.
Where your brain kind of,
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
different. It's different things too. Like I told my sister recently, I had a dream. Literally 2 days ago, it was like a really disgusting dream that I woke myself up because I gagged. I was like, oh, like that's disgusting. And I'm not even gonna tell you guys because it was pretty gross.
Yeah. When I was younger, I actually used to like analyze and like really read a lot into like my dreams. And most of them was because like if I were to dream about someone and I'd be like, what does this mean?
Latinas and astrology. Bro.
Did you have a dream journal?
Like
Like
a
Shark Boy and Lava
dream
Girl?
journal? No, I never really ever wrote down my dreams. But now I kind of don't even remember them anymore. Like once I wake up, I kind of do try to repeat them, or like if a dream was like my favorite dream and I'm like, oh, like this happened, but probably like a couple minutes later, like if I'm brushing my teeth, I'm like I forget about it. I don't remember about it at all anymore. But now I like how I said, like I'm not really conscious of like if I'm dreaming anymore. I'm kind of like, oh, something probably happened, but I just don't remember as soon as I wake up.
You have a favorite dream?
I used to have a favorite dream. I can't remember it now, but I used to have a favorite dream that actually it happened. And I think the way it happened is I had the dream, I woke up, and then I went back to sleep, and I was still able to continue the same dream. And then probably like, I don't know, maybe like years later, I had the same dream again. And then I was kind of like, wow.
No way.
And I was like, wow, I remember this. And it was crazy because I was like, I don't know how this goes. And I don't know. And then since then, I don't think I've really dreamt about it again. But I can't really like recall what happened in the dream. I just know the feeling of I really like this dream. And it was cool that like I woke up and I was able to like go back to sleep and continue it. And then the feeling of like, oh shit, I've had this dream before, and like it's back, like my favorite dream or whatever. But yeah, and I always think it's trippy when people say that like the faces that you sometimes see in your dreams is because you've seen them in person, and like your mind kind of just created them as a character in your dream. And I thought that was crazy.
Oh yeah, it is true. Every person, that's literally what relates to what I was gonna say. You know what sucks is that I've literally had dreams where like I have like a like wife and like kids, and then I wake up and I realize they never existed. And it's happened to me like a couple of times. Yeah, literally like the whole dream will be like I lived my entire life with like my wife, and we're like old and we have like kids, and then I wake up like a meme. Like it that's the absolute worst. But yeah, it's trippy, right? Because they're just made out of people you've seen in real life. Because the mind can't make up like fake faces.
Or there's sometimes when I see a person and they give me a vibe of like, say like I see a person and they give me your vibe, but they look like you.
You get what she's saying?
So like in the dream, it's not me, but they look like me.
No.
Yeah. Well, it's you, but yeah, it doesn't look like you. It looks like Stevie.
So it's
what the fuck?
Like imagine your soul in my body.
Yeah,
that's weird.
It's weird.
You said, man, what do you mean by that?
That usually that's happened to.
I'll put my phone
It's
in
mostly
your mouth.
happened a couple of times. Or yeah, like say like I'll see like your vibe, but I see his, but I still don't see your face though, like perfectly. But yeah, I've had those before. Those are the ones that sometimes trip me out because I'm always trying to figure out then who is it? Is it Izzy or is it Brandon? Like, who was I dreaming about? Was I dreaming about Brandon or was I dreaming about Izzy?
That's pretty scary.
You just had early schizophrenia, bro.
Why are you thinking about it so much?
Because I see you guys all the time. Probably that's why.
Have you heard, Julie, is it true? Have you heard that thing about how, like, if a girl tells you that I had a dream about you, it's like a low-key, like she's low-key spitting game? Have you heard that?
I've never heard that.
No, you never heard that?
No.
You've never heard that either? Then I guess it's not
can't
true.
recognize or we can't recognize game.
Oh yeah, we can't recognize. I feel like dudes are pretty clueless. I feel like
100%.
What do you mean? Like if I saw you in a dream?
You haven't heard that? I saw it.
That it's kind of a flirt sometimes. Like it's kind of being flirty.
Like, oh, I had a dream about you.
I don't.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You've never told a guy I had a dream about you?
No.
Okay,
I don't think I have.
speaking about dreams, what do y'all think about Deja Vu? You think
That's
just
a little weird. That's a little weird.
That's just crazy.
I had it today.
That shit is crazy, bro. I had it the other week too on New Year's. I was like, what the fuck? Like I was just talking and then like this girl said like a specific phrase. And like literally when she said that shit, like I locked in.
You almost killed her.
I tweaked out. I was like, you know? Like what the fuck you just say?
I've had those moments where I'm like, I saw this in a dream, and then I have those other moments of like, I know where it's going. Like something like how you said, like something will trigger you, and I'll be like, I know what's gonna happen next.
But I heard that's what stops the phenomenon. Deja vu, like you trying to predict what happens next.
Oh, really?
Stops it.
Really? Because that's what I literally, like how I said, I had it today. I remember I thought to myself, like, okay, if somebody walks up and talks to me literally right now, then this is crazy. But they didn't.
I've never thought that. I've never at all been like, I know what's gonna happen next. I'm just more like, am I tripping or is this actually deja vu? You know?
Yeah.
But for me, deja vu is always something like inconsequential. Like it's always like something that doesn't really matter. Like it'll be like, I feel like I've been here before. Like
a not important conversation.
Yeah, but it's, like it's never that serious, so that it never truly freaks me out.
Like an NPC.
Yeah. Like an NPC.
Bruh.
Or you think NPCs are real?
I don't know.
Non-playable characters?
Probably. I don't know. I'm
You
probably an
think so?
NPC.
You don't think it's just like there's so many of us now because there's so many people that we're like we have to like naturally not care about some people. And I don't mean this like hopefully not politics, like politicians don't believe this, but I mean that's why people like talk about NPCs. You don't think so?
I feel like
Or it's just a joke.
NPCs are that's a joke for sure. But I feel like when people like describe them, they probably think about like the people that just like do their daily routine and shit like that. Just how just go about their day.
For
and
just
shit
living.
Like yeah, and then like I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to describe because like it's a whole fucking tunnel. Or
Yeah,
a whole
I get you.
Hole,
but it goes into the topic of like the Matrix. Remember we were talking about that last week, and it's kind of tricky because like.
Bro, you know what I wanted to bring up was
what?
me and you watched the Alex Jones documentary.
Oh yeah.
Have you heard about that?
Where
it's new.
Did you want me to explain?
No, it's really old. It's kind of what put him on the map, right?
Yeah, it's basically what made Alex Jones like blow up. So it's called Bohemian Grove, right?
Yeah.
So
you heard about that?
Have you ever heard about it? Should I explain? Like for those of you who've
Yeah,
never heard about it.
I don't know about it.
For my
For
sister
me.
and everybody else who's never heard about it. Bohemian Grove is basically like this. I don't want to call it cult, but like this meeting.
It's a cult.
Meeting that happens in like near San Francisco, where a bunch of the elite rich people. There's photo evidence of world leaders like George Bush, Bill Clinton, and Richard Nixon, like hundreds of years like of just rich and powerful people meeting up here, and they worship like this like owl god, right? And the owl god is what the god of like child sacrifice.
Moloch, the owl god. I don't know specifically what he does. Patrick, can you pull that up? Can you pull up?
Yeah, look that up. Look that up real quick. Get back to us. But yeah, so basically Alex Jones, what he famously did is he snuck in, and like people just let him in because I guess he fits the bill. He's like a white dude who's a conservative.
Guy. Yeah, he's from Texas,
And he had like a secret like camera on him, and he filmed like their ritual. And me and him watched this whole documentary. We watched like his from the 90s, right?
Start to finish, yeah.
Yeah, it's like an hour and like 20 minutes. And dude, it's really trippy.
It
like,
actually is
really trippy.
It actually is a little trippy.
I heard though it wasn't like an actual like a human sacrifice. It was like a wood, right?
That's
Made
what
out
they
of wood.
say.
That's what they say.
All right. So like, we're watching another video speculating about that where Joe Rogan brings it up to one of his guests, and the guest made a good point where he's kind of like, well, he feels like people kind of make a big deal out of it because it's like, whenever something doesn't meet like the traditional Catholicism, people like freak out. And I understand.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
I understand. I feel like that's a fair point.
Yeah,
but having watched the
because I mean, if you look at like in Catholic religion, you go to a Catholic church, there's a guy nailed to a cross like on the altar.
I mean, if you had never
for an outsider,
if you had never known anything about Catholicism or Jesus, if you walked in, you saw like a dead body on a cross, like, and it's all detailed as fuck, you'd probably be like, this is a little weird.
Okay, but like, thinking about that, like, if I've never dealt with Christianity or Catholicism, is the religion that I don't know about? Do I still believe in a god, like a deity? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like,
I get what you're saying,
you know what I'm saying? Like, am I still like, can I still reason with the like why they did that? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I guess the reason like
it's different.
I only bring that up because I feel like that is like a good point. And that's totally cool. But like having watched the documentary, I completely understand why people think it's a little weird. Because it's like it's super like, it's just got a weird aura. It's just super rich, like elite people, like ex-presidents, businessmen.
So I'll describe the
bankers.
ceremony. I'll describe the ceremony of war. Just points personally I thought were a little weird. So when they sacrifice the like, they're like supposed to be like twigs, or at least that's what people say, right? It's in the shape of a body.
It's supposed to represent like a human baby, right?
Yeah, it's a child. Yeah. So
yeah.
it's like this like weird cloth thing that's like in the shape of like a small body, like a small child.
To look like a kid,
Yeah.
like a person. I mean,
and they play this audio. They basically do like this kind of like play where it's called, what is it called? The cremation of care. Yeah. So it's like to kind of like kill and your like worldly possessions and conscience. Yeah. And what was funny is that in the documentary they were doing a protest outside, doing
the creation
of care. Yeah, to like reverse like Doctor Strange shit.
Well, because like
outside of that,
yeah, that's how they were protesting. They were doing a ceremony to
yeah.
reverse what they're doing
in the same documentary.
Yeah.
So other people knew about like.
No, it's
people have known about it for a long time.
It's been known. It's just that like a lot of people like didn't think it was that weird. Like people were like, oh, it's just like a getaway for rich people, like to take a break from the limelight, you know. Because it's been around since like the 1800s.
It's 1895,
something like that. It's been around for a minute.
That's
so
crazy.
it's kind of like a little like retreat kind of for them. Like
But what I was saying is what was weird about the ceremony is that like they give a voice, right? They do a play. They give a voice to the owl god or some like mysterious god.
Yeah, they don't really say who's who.
Yeah, but he's saying that like, oh, you guys might be free here right now, but once you leave, like I'll always be around every corner and like everything you do. Basically saying the conscience, right? Or like some high power that like looks over you. And they even play like a sound effect when they burn like their sacrifice of a guy screaming.
Yeah, the guy says,
and Alex Jones says a documentary that it is like who knows, maybe it is actually somebody they're burning.
Yeah.
Me and Brandon made a joke of like, if that was me they were burning, I'd be like, I'm real, like this isn't like
please help me, please. It's gonna get a little controversial, but I'm saying is, how's the Bohemian Grove like different from like any like black elitist party that we see with Kevin Hart and Jay-Z and all them? You seen that, right? We've all seen
Wait,
that.
I actually didn't even know. They have like their own club too?
Yeah, like they have like every year they have like a whole gathering about like black elitists, black wealthy people and all that shit, just to commemorate like the wealth they got and like celebrating shit like that. There's no like special deity and shit like that. But like it's every year they do that shit.
It's like a gathering.
It's a gathering, like celebrate that shit. And for sure, like you can say like, oh, there's business talks and shit like that, and to get richer and shit like that.
Well, I guess because it's like white people like have ruled the world for like thousands of years, you know.
But I'm not saying also like just black people alone, but I'm saying like also Native Americans. Like we can also say like different people from around the world, like different countries. We can say they can they fucking pray to an evil god or some shit like that, the same way they fucking Bohemian Grove did.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, what's also like troubling is like the only reason we're focused on it is because like you said, literally like what you're about to say right now, like white people have ruled the world for centuries, you know. So that's the only reason why we're focused on it, and like that's the only reason why we put power to it.
I feel like I get what you're saying, but I feel like to me it's I know you said even though they don't celebrate like a deity, I mean like that's such a big difference though to me at least when I think of like the elitist groups in like the white community, like the Bohemian Grove people celebrating specifically, like I get if it was just like an owl, right? Nothing else, like it didn't have a name. But it's Moloch, like who in the Bible was like the god of like child sacrifice. I feel like
okay. What do you think about like the Asian communities though? Like we're a bunch of
my
them,
fellow Asian guys right here.
Where a bunch of them fucking they actually go and actually touch a deity, a god of a statue to like symbolize like great money and wealth.
Oh, you mean like
I think it's because like I get 100% what you're saying, and like I feel like that's why when we brought up what the guy on Joe Rogan said, is I think that's a valid like argument. The only reason I find it, I guess for me, I find it a little weird is because of the Epstein stuff. Is how a lot of the people who are there, like the Clintons or like George Bush, have like connections to Epstein, and that Epstein was like a child predator, and they're worshiping a god that likes child sacrifice. It could be like completely unrelated, but for me, it's just a little bit like too close. You know what I mean?
Do you think that has to deal with like the way all of them at the Bohemian Grove are elite, or because like I said, they're all fucking white elitists?
Well, the way I know a lot of people don't like Alex Jones, and I understand why. And I'm not saying like I believe in him, but
you're not a fan, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm a fan. It's just more like what he said in the documentary was he feels like it's a place to compromise people, like to get people to like have fun and drop their guard so they can get dirt on you. And then they can control you, which is what Epstein did, which is what people say what Epstein did, why he filmed people messing around with like little girls and little boys, because then he had like influence over you and he could blackmail you to do whatever you want. So that's the only reason I think it's a little weird, is the context of the Epstein stuff. If that didn't exist, I wouldn't really care. I'd be like, it's just people like,
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys saying? Would y'all still care if y'all saw that shit though? Like
if the Epstein thing didn't exist, you wouldn't care about the Bohemian Grove
like
shit?
Bill Clinton, like world leaders still meeting fucking, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like I get Brian. That's like I feel like that's a big thing too. Is that I feel like it wouldn't matter as much if it then later, like when that documentary came out, it was like 1999 or something.
Yeah, it was 1999 or 2000.
Yeah, it was like really early, but like for like 20 years later or some like 20ish years later, for it to come out that everything that Alex Jones was saying about like that all these like super rich and powerful people go to this island where they like violate like little kids, like sound outrageous, and then it ended up being true, right? If that didn't actually get proven to be true, then yeah, it'd be a lot more harder for me to really care about Bohemian Grove and these people worshiping their god. Because like the world has a lot of religions, man. Like people do weird stuff all the time.
I think I would have been just like, oh, it's just them doing like.
Really?
Well, because funny enough, like last week we were talking about it with Patrick, and we were saying that like us regular people, right? Like us, the four of us in here, like we could easily just start like our own club, or I mean, we kind of have like we have Todo Chido or whatever.
Yeah.
We gather around. So it's if we do that as regular people, obviously people who are rich and powerful have like secret clubs. It's like it's not a big leap to think.
Okay, but like that's what I'm saying though. Like the difference between like those clubs is how much influence they have over the whole world,
true.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I get what you mean. Where it's weird that like ex-presidents and bankers and all that are like
all that, literally all that in the same fucking room.
No,
like,
that's why. That's for me why I find it a little weird.
That's what's different between like the black party, the elitist parties that they have as well. You know, like they're all just like they all realize where they came from, and they all realize like there was a struggle to get there.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? That's for me is what portrays the difference between a black elitist party and a white American elitist party where they have to fucking ritual a deity, you know? They have to believe a god. Because, like, bro, like, you know, like, everyone is against them. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I was also like, a lot of these people, like politicians like George Bush and all that, they're like supposedly super like Christian and shit. And then they get all mad like when people like don't follow the Bible, but they can like worship like a god of sacrifice. That's why I was like, I don't know that it's that for me it's like a religious thing. I think if anything it's like a kind of like
business thing.
It's more like a frat thing, you know, where it's like
connections and shit like that.
Yeah, like that's but I don't know.
Well, I like that idea that people bring up a lot is that like it's so easy to fall into like conspiracy theories because like it basically just explains everything, right?
Yeah.
Whenever bad things happen in the world, it's so easy to be like, oh, it's because of this and this and connect to that. Instead of just being like something just bad shit happens, you know. It's in a way it's fun for people, you know. It's like you know how people are really into like murder mysteries or like into like watching documentaries about serial killers, you know. It's that idea that everything is like planned out and like there's something deeper inside, you know. So that's why like whenever we talk about conspiracy theories, I'm always like, but like, are we literally just being like schizophrenic right now? Like, is it really like is all this like really just like? Because I feel like it's weirdly at the same time true that the government is what's the word? Like they lack like structure in a way. You know what I mean? They're very like clumsy. They make a lot of mistakes. Like
no, for sure. That's why like I think a lot of people like read into it too deeply in the sense of like they think like
they can uncover the truth, basically.
Well, not that like I feel like at most it's like it's weird in the sense of like how Epstein Island was like weird, like but I think when a lot of people go there to like Bohemian Grove, they start adding like supernatural. They start adding like, oh, that's where the lizards convene, and that's where and they're worshiping an owl god. See, they don't have souls, you know. It's like, well, I don't.
For me, that's where the white culture comes in. You know what I'm saying?
But
they have to believe in something because they don't believe in anything.
I don't whatever they believe, whatever. That's not important to me. It's just more like, I think whatever they're doing is not as like, it's not as supernatural.
Nefarious?
Not as supernatural or nefarious. It's just if they're doing bad shit, it's just people doing bad shit, you know?
Yeah.
I agree with that, yeah. But that's what I'm saying, like, it's the people doing bad shit that rule our world, you know what I'm saying?
But like, I feel like objectively, though, it is a little weird. It's a little weird, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's a little weird that, like, ex-presidents go and, like, worship a god and burn an effigy that screams. It's like, it's a little funny, but...
I think everybody... go ahead, Julie.
No, it's just like, I guess it's just like... I guess since they're like already like I guess in a way the rich and powerful, it's kind of like they want to keep that power. So I don't know. I think some people fall into that of like, oh, if I keep doing this, like this is what's gonna happen to me. And I think people just kind of fall into that loop of like, well, I'm gonna do these sacrifices because I feel like they've kind of been like doing something. I guess in a way.
I think it's like I don't penalize them for like believing in something because I feel like people like regular people believe in like manifestation and shit. Like, and I'm not saying that's ridiculous. It's just more like. I think some people genuinely believe like supernatural shit is going on there. Like aliens and lizard people convene there. Where it's like I don't go
spells
that
and witchcraft.
Because I feel like with conspiracies, it's like a slippery slope. Like yes, there's some that are right Because like after the Epstein shit, I feel like that's when a lot of conspiracies, everybody started being like, nah, this is all true.
These are all real.
Where it's like this one was true, therefore they're all true. You
Yeah.
know? And I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But like again, Joe Rogan brings it up where it's like a slippery slope because you can start to like really fall into like a pipeline of like nah, everything's like connected, and you kind of lose yourself. But
It's paranoia, bro.
well, yeah, for sure.
That's why, like, if you're a conspiracy theorist, you shouldn't smoke weed, bro. You're fucking going into psychosis for reals, dude. Because then you start thinking everything. Even your family, even your friends, like, they're in on it, bro. Everybody's in on it. But I feel like...
Oh, watch Wilfred. Y'all should watch Wilfred.
Is that the one with the dog?
The dog, bro.
Yeah.
The talking dog and shit. Like, y'all should watch
Is it
that
really
shit.
that good?
It's because it's really fucking good in terms of what we're talking about right now. You know what I'm
Really?
saying? I promise you, it's really good.
Well, explain why.
Just...
Because I know it's a show about
I don't want to spoil it, but like, okay, I'll just say it's
the topic.
It's about this specific person that sees a dog who can talk to him. Like he sees a dog in a man costume. That's what he sees, and like the main like thing is he's either mentally unstable or something else is going on.
Oh,
That's all I can tell you without spoiling it. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah. So he's
Like-
literally maybe crazy. Dude, one of my biggest fears is that I literally just, when they develop a disease, that just makes me crazy.
Why not, bro? I love that shit.
Well, I mean,
They'd be like, wow, like you're experiencing.
it's because I
you're
told you, bro.
experiencing something different.
It's
You're
because
experiencing
I
new.
love myself, and I feel like I got above everybody else. I gotta trust myself first, and if I can't trust myself, then like I can't trust my own world. You know, that's where it starts to trip me out when I think about stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know. I talk about it all the time, bro. Self-love is like stupid important.
Oh hell
Like,
yeah, bro. Fuck
yeah.
yeah.
Did you guys ever struggle with self-love when you guys are young?
100%.
I mean, it's
Like-
not like we're old now.
Like loving
yeah.
myself.
What do you mean?
Like loving myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've struggled with it. I feel like I still sometimes struggle with it. Of like, I guess accepting myself the way that I am. In a way. So
How have you amended that?
I think a lot of it has just been like, I guess just healing like myself. And not being so harsh on myself sometimes. I still feel like I sometimes do, but I think it's just a lot more like physical of like.
But do you feel like you're sturdy and you're strong?
There are times when I feel like, yeah, I do feel like I'm not strong enough for it. And the like the most, I guess, like honesty part is like sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't think I'm like pretty. I'm very just like very of like, no, like I don't think I'm like really pretty, and like, because at least personally for me, I feel like I've seen or I've worked with people who I think are a lot more like, I guess, attractive or prettier than me, where and I see the whole thing of like pretty privilege, right? And I feel like personally for me, it's like never happened that way, where it makes me be like, well, then does that mean like I'm not pretty enough to like have this or kind of that thing? And then I just become very self-critical. And then sometimes that's when it like gets me down. But for the most part, I'm eventually like, no, like I'm chilling, like I'm pretty much fine. But sometimes I do get a little stuck in that thing of like, oh, maybe I'm not. But it's the same thing of like, and I always think of like how we've talked about like, oh, when you've seen like multiple people in the world and you see a lot of pretty people on the internet and stuff like that, that's when it makes me a lot more like self-conscious. Where I'm kind of like, fuck, like I'm not as pretty as the other girls that you see online or whatever.
I mean, like all I can say to that is like, honestly, like fuck what other people think, bro. Like if people genuinely think, there's always gonna be somebody out there who thinks you're ugly. Just bottom line, no matter what, there's always gonna be people there who don't fuck with you or don't like the way you look. So you honestly just gotta like really dismiss all those thoughts, bro. All that criticism. Just be like strong in who you and what you look like.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Miss.
Just live in denial.
No,
just kidding.
'Cause I mean, all that
you're
cause
right.
like,
You're 100% right.
But bro, all that shit, like at least to me, I understand, Julie, it's hard because I understand like I could say this and then it's just like words, right?
Yeah.
But genuinely, like all that shit is like I always think about whenever I used to be younger and I used to be a lot more insecure. Like now that I'm older, I'm like, bro, like who cares? Like who cares about like the like what other people think of your outer appearance? You know, it's about what you bring when you like release your inner beauty.
Yeah.
You know. I don't know, shit like that. But I get it. It's also like for women, I guess like to be pretty is different than for a dude to be handsome.
Well, because
right?
the only reason I talk about it is because I have actually talked about this like with my coworkers, and like we as a collective were like, we each felt like we're not pretty enough, right? Like that was like the talk of like, well, there's these other girls who kind of like can get away with things because of the amount of like how pretty they are or whatever. And so we were just like, it feels a little unfair sometimes, and also sometimes it's like it sucks when you hear the actual commentary of like people, like those people actually criticizing like, or like other people criticizing other people for the way that they look. Or like one of them is like, oh, they always talk about like being overweight, like why is that an issue? And a lot of it is just like, well, for us it's a lot more like there's a lot more beauty standards and like how a woman should look or how women should be, like, oh, a woman should maybe like be fit and like be like she should look nice and like this way. And like that's what one of my coworkers was saying, and I was just like, yeah. To me, I was like, I can't relate because I can't. I'm not in that position of like.
Not me though.
Because like no, I'm just like I don't know what to say to that, because it's like, what do you say? Like, you know, you're pretty the way that you are, but yet society is over here being like, no, like that's wrong, that's unhealthy to be overweight. Because I could say as much as I can say to like this person and be like, you're still pretty, you're still this, like you're not overweight, you're pretty the way that you are. She's still gonna be like, no, but society keeps telling me like, no, this is the wrong way to go about it.
Can I ask you a question though? Do you believe that the self-care or self-love between a man and a woman is different? Because the way you're describing, like we were talking about self-care and self-love before, and like you went on to like beauty standards. Do you think that's like the self-care that women desire? Like they want to be like beautiful in everybody's eyes, or they want to be pretty in everybody's eyes. Like that's the self-care they desire. Because for me, that's like totally different from like what a man desires, you know?
I feel like I agree.
Like, that's crazy. Like, you know, like imagine like, you know, like a woman thinking like, oh, like I want to appeal to everybody. And like thinking about that they're not, like that's fucked up. But then I'm just thinking about like, damn, like that's totally different from what a man thinks, you know?
What would you say? What would you say is the man's?
I can't speak for like everybody, but for me, I feel like the only way to become stronger, because I've studied Stoicism.
Stoicism.
Oh, Stoicism.
Yeah. I've studied that for like
cool.
like 3 or like 4 months, and like for me at least, I see like the only way to get like become like a stronger person is to like deal through suffering. You know, like
damn.
For me,
real.
it's like put yourself through like as much pain as you can, bro. Because like, you know, after this, like there's nothing else that can hurt you after that. Like your emotions become like eluded for me. So like all I can do is just like smile and wave. You know what I'm saying? At the penguins of Madagascar.
I remember I was talking to you about it, right? That I was watching another podcast, and that was one with the guest. He was a doctor, and he was saying it's like it's so weird, but one thing we've learned about the universe is that like, in order to get the best reward is to go through hard things. You for some reason that's the law of the universe. If you want a really good reward, you have to do hard things, right? When you take the easy route is to get fucked up every day and not do anything, right? And you don't get any big rewards from doing that. So it kind of goes in line with Stoicism. I actually don't know what is Stoicism. Do you know if you guys could explain it?
Patty, can you pull up the exact
Oh.
definition?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, Patty. Pull up that definition real quick.
Please pull up a Stoicism, the philosophy. Well, it's basically it's a philosophy.
Oh, you actually got it? Okay.
It's not gonna reach. So you're gonna have to get up.
The endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint.
So basically,
oh shit.
No, so basically, like Stoicism is like it's a philosophy, like like it's like basically like a religion. If you want to follow it, it's basically like you endure, your face endures no pain, and you put aside all your emotions, and like you realize your face is just a blank face. You get what I'm saying? And you learn to idealize all your emotions through your own head or thoughts and shit like that. So like no one else can see how it affects you. You know what I'm saying? That's what, like, for me, that's what it is all about, you know?
But, so you said you've practiced it a few months already, or you said you thought about it?
It's something that, like, I strongly believe in, you know what I'm saying? Like, stronger hardships do make a harder person.
And do you feel like since you've believed that, it's benefited you?
It's made me realize, like, what I've thought, you know what I'm saying? It's made me realize, like, what I think when I'm in my darkest thoughts. You get what I'm saying?
Okay, but does it... why did you take up Stoicism?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For me, it's beneficial because it's like, bro, like, you know, like no one else can push you down as much as you put yourself down. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What is there's an expression I like that somebody said. I can't remember who, but it's like, you'll never meet a hater do it better than you.
Damn.
That's true, bro. I'm serious.
But,
Like, you know,
but you feel like that's still like self-love though?
it's a form of self-love. You
I
get what I'm
I
saying?
think when
Like, you
people-
have your own path to self-love. You can love yourself as much as you want, like saying like, oh, you're so beautiful. You can, like, you know, like, you deserve everything in the world.
Accept yourself in your
But then you can
flaws.
so also do a self-love of like, you're a fucking dumb piece of shit that doesn't deserve anything, and you gotta fucking work yourself the way up you got to. You know what I'm saying?
Like
it's two
tough
different
love?
paths. Yeah, exactly like that. It's like two different paths, but then at the end of the day, like, you know, those paths converge and realize, like, you know, like,
Yeah.
you realize gotta appreciate everything in life. You know, you gotta love
Mhm.
everything in life, but two different paths, two different, you know,
Yeah.
two different thoughts.
What were you gonna say, Brandon?
I think it's more like good shit happens and bad shit happens, and you
Yeah.
have to appreciate it for what it is. Like it's
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
there's bad shit that happens, but you can't really do anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of just not ignore your feelings, but like
Accept what's happening.
I think right, something like that.
Yeah, but then that's what like stoicism is like.
Yeah.
Like, you affect, like, you see the negative feelings and you see how like they're gonna affect you, but you can't let them affect you because that's what you believe. Like, you can't have your face can't fucking like falter in any way. You can't sad. You can't be sad. You can't, like, you know, cry on your own time. Just don't cry in front of everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Laugh
That's what
now,
that
cry
shit is.
later.
Literally. Drake said, OVO.
No, but that's why I keep thinking of like, I guess the difference between like how I feel, right, is that I feel like a lot of it is that, yeah, or a lot of us, or just me, is that we're just very stuck in our emotions sometimes of like if someone doesn't like us or whatever, for whatever reason, I think for us it still hurts us a little more emotionally because we're kind of like, well, what did I do wrong, kind of thing. We're like a little more like self-critical of like, did I say something? Do I look weird? Like, is it this? But how I said, like, I know it's something that like I personally have just been like working on. And before, I think I used to be a lot more affected. Now I'm kind of like, it's just a thought. And then I kind of try to work on it as to like, why am I having this thought or why am I feeling this way? And then I have my up moments, you know. I have times when I'm kind of like, all right, like, nah, I'm pretty fine. Like, I'm chilling. Like, I'm a chill person. Or like sometimes it's nice when you actually hear the compliment from like someone else. It's like a reminder. It's not like that's boosting me. It's more of just a reminder of like, you're fine. Like, it's fine. You'll be okay on like how you feel about yourself, you know. So I think that's why I don't get fully stuck on like that anymore, because I'm kind of like, no, like I think. And also like how I said, like, it's not just me feeling this way. I know that there's other people feeling this way, and we're kind of in a way trying to help each other, like, get out of that.
Yeah. Okay. I wanted to kind of like roll back to what you said about you were talking to your friend, right? And she said you were trying to cheer her up, right? Because she said she felt like she was overweight, and society tells you that like overweight people are unhealthy. But I remember my sister changed my mind recently, because I used to be kind of the same way of like, I mean, if you're overweight, like, just work out, right? But my sister brought up a really like mind-blowing point where she said that like when you're somebody who has less money, it's a lot easier to be overweight because a lot of cheaper food has a lot more fat. So when you're being fat phobic, you're also being a little bit classist. Have you heard of this argument?
Well, I've not heard of that already.
Yeah,
'cause,
I've never heard of that
like
before.
If you were to buy groceries, right, for the amount of family that you have, so say it's like your family's like 6 people, to buy a whole meal at a grocery store is a lot more expensive. And I guess the healthier way of if you want to go to like a Whole Foods or whatever the natural grocery is. But if you go like to say a McDonald's, they have like $1
Little Caesars.
or like $2 menu. You could get pizza for $10 to feed your whole family. And like groceries that would come out to what, like $30-$40 or $50 depending on how big your family is. So for the most part, like, and I saw
And
this
also, like,
and I saw this
yeah.
on a documentary, like, about like food and like how it's like, and like how it's bad, like the
It's
processed
meant to be
food is
cheap
like
and shit like
bad. Yeah,
that.
it's meant to be cheap, and like for the most part, a lot of people who are in poverty tend to do that because not only is like the parents work from like who knows when that they never really come home. So what's the easiest? Go to like a fast food place for like dinner or something. Or like they're too tired to cook, so they're just buy a piece of pizza. Like it's just kind of like those things, you know, like they kind of just fall into each other, you know.
And also to have like a good quality gym membership is like money, right? And then to even have time to work out is also a privilege, because I mean, like a lot of people who are like lower income, they're working to get by, bro. They're working long hours, long shifts, like Monday through Sunday sometimes, right? Like, and obviously they're not gonna have time to even work out. Like obviously they're gonna be overweight. So you blew my mind, Julie, because I was kind of like bro, like just work out. But I mean, I changed my ways. I realized like, damn, you're right. Like it's not necessarily anybody's fault, right? It's not necessarily an ugly thing, because people can't help but be overweight, you know?
But then that's what I'm saying. Like, people can't help to be overweight, but people gotta also realize, like, you know, you're in a failing system.
Like, what do you mean?
Like, you're in a system that like wants you to get fat, wants you to work all the fucking time, and wants you to do all that labor and shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
The
So
system,
like,
bro. The system tries to make you weak.
So it's like literally like, you guys seen the Boondocks, right? The Boondocks.
Yeah, I mean, I know of it. I
Like,
haven't seen it.
The other brother Huey.
Mm-hmm.
Like that fool's all he cares about is fucking like eating healthy and doing all that like good shit and reading and shit like that. But his brothers care all about is fucking eating junk food, doing all that shit. Realizing like Huey realized that he's the stereotypical African American. Like you can see that from the get-go. But then like Huey is above that shit. Like he's all into reading and shit like that. And it gets to a point where like he realized he gets paranoid of his own self because he knows so much that he realized he sees himself getting paranoid by an FBI agent.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like that's how much he knows about like the whole world and shit like that. Like in the show, like we don't know if the FBI agent is real or not, but like he says it's a fragmentation of his own mind.
What the fuck?
Literally,
Wait. Okay, I need like an explanation.
So in the show, there's two brothers. It's Riley and Huey.
Okay.
And Riley's like he's like super. He's basically like a stereotypical African American.
Like he listens to like all the.
He's rap. He's super into being gangster. He's like all about that. Where
Yeah.
Huey's not like that. He's super into like taking care of his health. He's super into reading and like elevating his mind and all that shit. So in the show, early on, they established that Huey feels like he's being followed by a CIA agent who says that he knows too much as like a black man, that he figured out the system. And so like throughout the show, you're kind of led to, it's like they say
is
in
he
the
real or
beginning,
is
like
he
is he
not real?
crazy
they
or is
say
he
in
fucking?
the beginning,
You know?
I think that they like say that it's a fragment of his imagination.
Yeah, that's what
But
he says.
But it's like an interesting like
Yeah.
yeah.
Whoa.
It's like it for me. It's telling me like if you know too much, do you yourself get like, you know, hypnotic and psychotic about like, you know, shit that's you think it's happening.
I was talking to Brandon once about it, that there's like a lot of movies that imply that as a human you can't win too much, because when you're on the top, like when you're at your peak, is when you'll probably die, right? Do you remember we were talking about this?
Yeah, well, we were talking about American Beauty.
Yeah.
And how he died. You've seen American Beauty, right? Where he gets shot. And I always ask him, like, what's the significance of him dying? Like, what is the story telling you? Like, because it's a deep movie. Like,
it is super deep.
Like, so what's the significance of that character, like, dying? Like, and I just genuinely want to know, like, his interpretation.
Have you ever seen it, Julie?
Yeah.
And he was just telling me that, like, you said it was your brother, right?
Yeah, when I was a kid, we used to watch that movie all the time, and my brother blew my mind because I asked him, like, why do you think he dies? And my brother's like, it's because he was winning too much. Like, he just, like, the universe almost doesn't allow you to kind of, like, figure it all out. You can't have all the answers and, like, still live your life, right? It's, like, almost like it's a part of, like, whatever phase life is, right? If you figure it out, then I guess it's your turn to go to what's next. Right,
But that's what I'm saying. Like that's fucked. That's fucked. Like,
yeah, no, yeah.
What's the end game?
It's pretty.
What's
fucked.
the end game here? You know
Well, I don't know. What's weird in a lot of mythology, like in movies, myths of the old, like tales, fairy tales, a lot of those books or stories paint humans as being like cursed with like intelligence and cursed with life. That like our existence is like is almost like a
punishment.
Yeah.
Listen, you heard about the I believe the Buddhism religion, like the enlightenment. Literally, the whole thing about enlightenment is that like you surpass like your human soul, your human spirit. So you ascend above reincarnation
to nirvana, right?
To nirvana. So basically the thing is like you're not gonna get, because they see human what's that shit called? Like you get like
human reincarnation, right?
Human
Well,
reincarnation.
I think it's what they believe is that all the root of all suffering is desire. So with like monks and stuff, that's why they kind of give up everything when whether it's like sex or like it's the possessions, anything that like you desire, and that's why because they feel like you live life over and over, and to live to them is to suffer. So like when to break that cycle is to like let go of your wanting of like what's here, so then you can ascend to nirvana. That's I think I don't know.
That's all. No, that's like no. You're right.
Isn't that kind of so you said so desire is suffering, right?
Well, they say the root of all suffering comes from desire. Yes, so that's
does it have anything to do with attachment too?
100%, because I feel like the more you're attached to something is the more
it'll hurt when
it deflects you from what you really want to accomplish as a human soul. Cause like you can, I can say myself right now, like I got probably reincarnated to fucking find my true, like the true happiness and true goal. If I believe in Buddhism, if that's my religion, right?
Right.
And it's like at that point, for me, my self belief is like, oh, I'm the last reincarnation of my whole soul. And after this, like, that's it. I'm nirvana. That's my whole belief. But you know, you never know, because at the end of the time, you can never know what you accomplish. You know, you never know what's happiness or what's fucking like sadness. You know.
I think it's always interesting to me because I saw this thing on TikTok where it was a scientific study they did on this monk, where they put a bunch of like wires and stuff on his brain, and they call him the happiest man in the world. Because they feel like based on his brainwaves or something that he's like he just feels happiness, like he's just as happy as you can get, and he's a monk, so it comes from that lifestyle, you know. So that's why I think it's pretty interesting that like these people who, at least in this state of mind, to me that kind of sounds like hell. Like, you know, I give up all my stuff and I don't want anything. Like that sounds weird.
Yeah, right.
But then for the happiest person on earth to be like one of those people, it's pretty interesting to me, you know. But yeah, I wish I knew his name.
Because I've always I know with Buddhism, or I'm not sure if it's Buddhism, so I don't want to misspeak. But I know one of the concepts of like reaching true nirvana is to get rid of desire and get rid of attachments, right? And to me, maybe this is just showing my frequency level, but like I've always had trouble with that. Like I've always had trouble like damn, like so I let go of things that I care about, like my people I care about, and like things I want. Like to me, it's like I wouldn't say it's hell, but to me, it's so hard for me to wrap my mind around that being like my heaven, right? I would assume my heaven would be everything that I want, everything that I love, 100%, right?
But that's the thing, though. Like that's the problem with like everybody's heaven. It's everything you want. You know what I'm saying? You gotta fucking like deconstruct yourself from like the point of view of what you want and realize like
the human
what is literally the human, like what is happening, what is gonna happen. And for me, it's like I was gonna think about something. Okay, like there's another religion called Taoism, and basically like literally the main quote I saw from it is like you must flow the way the water flows.
I think you know what's interesting about that is a lot of people bring up Winnie the Pooh with that philosophy. Like genuinely, Winnie the Pooh.
Taoism.
Yeah,
T-A-O-I-S-M.
I hear people pronounce it differently, right? Because
Taoism.
Yeah, I think it's that one where they say that Winnie the Pooh exemplifies that a lot. Cause
explain what it is first. Taoism, if you can.
For me, like the main.
Oh, Patty, can you look up Taoism real quick?
Patty, like, pull that up.
The main quote for me.
I think it's T.
No, it's D.
It's both. I'm telling you, that's why people pronounce it differently. People pronounce it differently.
But what's it called? For me, it's basically like you must flow the way life like flows with you. You know what I'm saying? Taoism is basically like you flow the way the waterfall flows. You get what I'm saying?
Is that the
like that's
official
like,
definition?
No, not the whole official, but like basically like paraphrase. Like your soul is water just moving through a waterfall, through a stream.
What did you find?
It's like a bunch of stuff. There's like 3 terms, 4 terms.
Go ahead. Patty with Fatty's going to read us the definition.
The 3 elements. Okay, so there's 3 concepts. One is the continuity between nature and human beings, or the interaction between the world and human society. 2, the rhythm of a constant flux and transformation in the universe, and the return or reversion of all things to the Tao from which they emerged. And sorry, cut off.
No, you're good. What you were saying? I don't know that this one seems like a really heavy topic. I mean, not really
Three,
really heavy concepts. It's
the
kind of
worship of ancestors, cult of heaven, and the divine nature of sovereign.
Like for me, like like Taoism is like another fucking like like an understep of Buddhism. You get what I'm saying? Like it goes to.
Oh, it's just like a one
like,
step down.
Yeah, like Taoism. No, not go one step down, but Taoism is like goes into specifications that Buddhism won't go to. You get what I'm saying? It's like fuck. I don't know. I feel like Taoism is like it's a spiritual belief. It's not so much as a deity belief, like where you believing in a god and shit. You're just believing like nature like loves you and like blesses you, and that's the whole thing. You know, you can't fall away
so
from nature.
It's not a god, it's nature.
Like literally, like you're a nature yourself. You know, you yourself is a flower.
Okay, so here's what it is. The made simple like definition is the important Taoist principles are in action, simplicity, and living in harmony with nature. So just kind of going with the flow. What I thought was interesting about it
like
is
a bum. I'm just kidding.
Kind of.
No, but I saw this interesting video, and there's even a couple books about it, about how Winnie the Pooh, the bear, represents that like pretty well. Like a lot of what he does is like a good example of Taoism. So pretty interesting, right? If you like Winnie the Pooh and you like,
oh, that's cute.
Yeah, because he's always like,
he's a real motherfucker.
So it's like, is it you follow that? You're just trying to be like Winnie the Pooh? That's literally you.
Nah, Stoicism. Stoicism. That's where Stoicism? It's at. Yeah. I used to follow.
Oh, you went from
I used to follow the Taoism and Buddhism because like I took a philosophy class and a religion class that taught me like about everything. Like this motherfucker told me like all the gods and everything they believe in and shit like that. And like, but this one stuck out to me because like they didn't really believe in the God. They just really believed in harmony.
State of mind.
Yeah, state of mind. You know, like it's like the perfect peaceness, happiness to like what you can accomplish. You know, and for me, like emotion is just like a feeling of emotion. At the end of the day, it's gonna run out quickly. But like for me, like Buddhism and all that is like the eternal state of fucking like happiness and peacefulness. But then I realized like as soon as I got older, I'm like, fuck it. Like get fucking dark, you know, suffer.
You had a question for us, right? You asked us
if we believe in a
do y'all believe in a deity or God?
What do you guys think?
I feel like I've always thought about it just because I feel like I'm continuing to learn a lot more about like Catholicism, and like I think for me, and that's a way that I kind of grew up, of like Catholicism and believing in like a God and Jesus and saints and like Mary and all that. And I think for me, at least up to right now, I think like I still, for some reason, like I still am very attached to like the Virgin Mary, like La Virgen de Guadalupe. Like that's someone who I kind of still am like, there's like something there that I feel that I'm kind of like, if I ever need anything, I'll pray to like her. But I don't like pray to Jesus or like God, or sometimes God, I'm kind of like, oh, like I'll make a joke like, oh, he's right there like behind the clouds. But for me, that representation is like when he's behind like a cloud and it's shining and like the ray, you can see the rays. Okay. Like that's how I see.
That's your God. That's the God.
Yeah.
That's
but then the other side of it is like the spiritual side of it, of like the whole thing of like manifestation and all that for yourself, right? Like, yeah, I still follow like a lot of like energy and like crystals and like vibes and like auras. And I believe in that part too, of like you can project a lot of things for yourself, and like that can turn into either positive energy or negative energy depending on how you're putting it out into the world. So I have like a whole mixture of things, right? And it's funny because like recently my coworkers were actually asking me about this. They were like, so if you, because they see that I wear like my crystals sometimes, and they're like, oh, so do you believe in that? So then are you religious? And I'm kind of like, well, not really, like in the fact that I don't really go to church that often, but I still have like a small belief in it. Because at least for me, it's just like a thing of like, it kind of sometimes gives me hope of like, I can do this, and like not, and I don't think it ever has, at least for me, made me like a bad person. I think it's always just been like, it's something that I believe in because I feel like it's kind of in a way an energy that I still give out even though if it's like, if I'm looking at La Virgen de Guadalupe, right, I'm still giving her some type of energy so I can feel like she can help me, or like if I'm struggling in something, like it'll be that, right? Or I'll use like my stones or whatever, like, but I still know that I still have to do the work. Like, it's not just like I'm going to throw it all at them and then they're going to do something for me. I think it's just like that. So it's, I think it's more of like, I put a belief in like a thing. But it's just like, but I also have like those internal conflicts of like Catholicism and how it happened, and like how like our family is very indigenous, and it's kind of like a lot of history happened with being like Catholic and all that, right? So there is that sometimes that conflict, which is why like sometimes I'm very like a little like not so into it, because I'm kind of like, I know it's like a different belief that was kind of thrown on us, right?
Historically, right?
Yeah, historically. So, and I've learned that the more I kind of like grew up, and then it's just kind of like, for some reason, that's just like, La Virgen is the only one who I'm kind of like, okay, like,
well, you know, it's funny
like
too, because La Virgen comes from like an indigenous like deity.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like, I feel like it's been so long since I really like believed like in a God. But like I almost feel like it's my like biology to want to believe, like and maybe that goes for like every human, or maybe I speak for myself, but like whenever I want to be like, no, like I don't think anything's there, and it's not like I'm spiteful, like I don't care if there really is like no God, but like something inside of me makes me want to be like, no, bro, like there's something out there looking after you whenever you've felt safe, or whenever shit was going bad in your life and you saw a silver lining, like there was something looking over you. But I get confused whether or not that's just like simply my nature, right? Human nature to want to like put purpose to something that maybe doesn't have anything.
That's crazy that you're saying that shit, bro.
That's how I've always felt. Like whenever I'm like, dude, like God's looking over me, in the back of my mind, I just think like, or is that just like my DNA? I mean, like my instincts just telling me that, and not actually objectively
not to worry
true.
about that shit anymore.
Yeah.
Shit like that. Well, for me, it's like I used to believe like in a God and shit like that, but now I believe like the planet I'm born on is the thing that gives me powers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's cool. I
like
feel that.
like I'm born on this earth. I'm born on this universe. Like this, like they're all watching out for me. Whatever is out there. Like the karmic power, the energy, whatever it is out there, and like as long as I do good, no bad shit be done to me. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I believe. But it's like at the same time, it's like fuck, you know, like how much bad can I do to myself before it goes overboard?
Would you leave the planet, bro? Really quickly before Brandon, we move to you. Would you? Because you brought up that the planet gives you everything.
Planet?
Yeah,
Fuck.
if we had in the future we had the technology to go to Mars, we talked about this with Patty last week. Would you go to Mars?
Nah, I would not go to Mars.
Nah.
Fuck that, bro. Like, bro, I'm probably gonna get burned there or some shit
wait,
like
who's
that.
leaving? You and Patrick?
Me and Patty are out of here.
Damn.
But not in a like.
Nah, y'all not coming back. I promise.
Not in a, like-
Oh, yeah,
Nah,
like,
you
that
good.
for
No,
sure
I'm not.
not.
I'm not allowing you to come back.
Well, thank you for joining us on today's episode. That about does it for us. Please follow us on Instagram and on TikTok, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube.
Shout out to Izzy for coming on the show. It's always a good show when he's
Watch Puss in Boots. That shit's the next greatest movie out
It's
there.
really
I
good.
promise y'all.
Remember, y'all can also catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. So if y'all ever are on the road, y'all can listen to us in your car. So
Thanks
follow
again for
me.
joining us. Thanks again for Izzy.
Follow me
joining
at
us.
Todo Chidos Instagram. Go ahead.
And we'll see you
Todo
next week, guys.
Chido.
See you.
That's what I
Yeah, next
said. No.
Bye.
All right. Anyways, bye.
Fuck Patrick.
Yeah.